KBC is proud to be among them. For decades, KBC has remained Kenya's trusted public broadcaster, delivering reliable, accurate, and trustworthy information to citizens across the country. From public communication and civic education to emergency messaging when it matters most, KBC continues to serve the nation with responsibility and integrity. We have expanded local content and indigenous language programming, promoting culture, unity, and national cohesion. We are also embracing the future through digital transformation with online TV, radio streaming, and active social media platforms, bringing KBC closer to you anytime, anywhere. To our loyal viewers and listeners, we say, KBC, informing the nation, connecting Kenya.
Welcome back to Semana Spokes from Ganagava.
Semana Spokes is your platform to query the government, get answers, and understand what is being done in your country and across the nation. It's your time to ask, participate, and be informed. Don't miss Bonganagava every Tuesday at 8 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1.
This was a polo event that we got to attend at the Nairobi Polo Club.
From stylish outfits to thrilling polo action, it was a day to remember.
You know, there were different stalls that were showcasing different things that are connected with fashion.
Beautifully brought cultures together. It got to showcase unique and authentic designs crafted from diverse African fabrics.
Call entertainment scene speedily twirls into a lucrative business venture among the young and agile Abantines.
The group is made up of Israel Onyach and Yoya Tajiri, two artists who have grown into one of Kenya's most promising contemporary music acts.
Look at clock. Good afternoon. Welcome to Lunchtime News. My name is Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. Now, to kick off this broadcast, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority is investigating circumstances that led to the fatal shooting of Cheryl Athiambo, a 21-year-old medical student, on Saturday. The incident that occurred in Huruma, Nairobi County triggered violent protest on Sunday as residents demanded justice for the family. IPOA says investigations are ongoing, with investigators processing evidence and witnesses that will inform subsequent recommendations. This comes as the National Police Service says the deceased was caught in the crossfire as they pursued robbery suspects. And Another Kenyan has been killed in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Dennis Bagaka Ombori, a 39-year-old former Kenya Defence Forces soldier from Kitutu Chache constituency in Kisii County, died while fighting in Russia after allegedly being recruited under false promises of employment. His family is appealing to the government for assistance in repatriating his body to Kenya. Ombori had been working as a security officer in Qatar before traveling to Russia after being promised better pay. Relatives say recruitment agencies are misleading Kenyans into joining the war under the guise of job opportunities. The death comes less than 2 weeks after another Kenyan from Kisii County was also killed in the same conflict, raising concerns over the recruitment of Kenyans into active conflict zones.
They were told that there were well-paying jobs somewhere else in the world. So they opted to go for better jobs. They were not told which job they were going to do. They were taken to Russia. Here in Russia, they were forced to work as military personnel in Russia. He was recruited as a military in Russia. They started fighting for Russia against Ukraine. During his time of duty, while he fighting against Ukraine, we are made aware last night that he was killed while they were going towards Ukraine.
Now, a family in Kisumu Central is mourning the sudden death of the Ken after 4 siblings aged between 8 and 15 years died in a tragic quarry accident at Kanyakara, Kisumu County. The tragedy unfolded on Sunday evening when one of the boys who was swimming in water-filled excavation site started struggling. His 3 brothers' attempts to rescue him, however, ended in tragedy as they all drowned. Our reporter Weekly Fukech is currently at the scene of the tragedy with an update.
Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline Wambiru from Nairobi. It is a horrific incident here in Kanyakwar area of Kisumu Central Sub-County in the Lakeside City or Sub-County of Kisumu. And I believe I want to show you just in the background what you're seeing in the background. This is more or less an excavation area, an excavation site where different companies that have been licensed to conduct bottom excavation works on this area. And Jackie, you and I know that one of the guidelines for excavation works is for the companies. It is set in such a way that once the excavation works conclude, they are required to conduct what we call backfilling. They're supposed to fill the excavation areas to ensure that the safety of the locals that live around that site, their safety is ensured. But what you are seeing just in the background is the opposite, or rather is in contrast of what is expected. We came here about an hour ago and we've spoken with some of the locals here, and they've just registered their complaints and their dissatisfaction with the manner in which the whole issue here is treated, because the local administration, the government officers that are supposed to be protecting the locals against activities like this, they don't seem actually to act in the right manner. And just before I go deeper into this issue, let me just invite the father of the 4 children that perished last evening, Mr. Felix Otieno, who is here with us. The mother, we haven't been able to speak with the mother because she's still emotional. She doesn't have that strength actually to speak to us, but the father has gathered some strength to speak to us. And Felix, I'll just invite you here very briefly. Tueleze tu kwa ufupi, najua umejaa majonzi, unapitia mazito makubwa sana, lakini ukiangalia pale uzungumza na watazamaji wetu kwa sasa, tuambie kulikuwaje jana jioni?
Jana nilikuwa nimetoka nikaenda kwa chama, nikatoka chama nikarudi kwa nyumba. Nikaongea na vijana yangu wanipatie maji nioge, wakanipatia maji kwa mfereji nikaoga. Nikawaambia waoge before mvua ikuje. Wakaenda kuchota maji ya kuoga venye wao wanafanya kila siku. Mimi nikaenda hiyo shughuli yangu ilikuwa naenda. Ikifika saa 11:30 kuelekea saa 12 nikapigiwa simu na buda father yangu. Akaniambia kimbia hapa kwa nyumba, kuna kitu imefanyika mbaya. Nikamuuliza ni nini imefanyika. Akaniambia kimbia tu, kuna watoto wameingia kwa maji. Nikakimbia mbio, nikakuja mpaka mahali hapa. Nikapata watoto wangu wako kwa hii maji, mmoja shatolewa, watatu bado wako ndani ya maji. Nilisaidiwa na wananchi, wakatoa wenye walibaki ndani. Tukatoa hapa nje, maskari wakuja wakawachukua, tukawapeleka kwa hospitali Russia. So mimi nilikuwa naomba tu saidizi kwa mtu yote. Mweza nisaidia nizike hawa vijana yangu. Ikiwezekana naomba serikali asimame na sisi. Ingine tena, hii mashimo si watoto wangu peke yake wamekufa hapa. Watoto wamekufa na tukiona na hakuna kitu inafanywa. Bado inachimbwa tu. So nilikuwa naomba kama wanaweza ziba hii shimo, mahali wamechimba, wanaweza saidia sisi kama wenye tunaishi hapa. Asante sana.
Na tuseme kwamba si tukio la kwanza hapa jinsi ulivyosema, kwamba tumeweza kuarifiwa kwamba mwezi Disemba pia kuna mtoto aliweza kufariki kutokana na hali sawia na hii hapa. Swali langu ni kwamba kumekuwa na kamkunji labda umeitishwa kwenye kijiji hiki kuhakikisha kuona ni vipi swala hili litatatuliwa?
Hakuna kitu imewahi fanyika. Mtoto alikufa pale mbele, wakaja wakachukuliwa na askari, akazikwa. Mwingine alikufa hapa mbele tu hapa, kachukuliwa. Kuna wawili walikufa nyuma ya reli huko, watatu kufa pamoja, pia wakachukuliwa. Hakuna kitu imefanywa. So mambo imekuwa tu ni hivyo. Na watu wamekufa tofauti, so watu wazima ni watoto sababu ya hii mashimo.
Na kuendelea mbele, jinsi umesema umeitisha usaidizi kuhakikisha kwamba swala hili lizima ama watoto waweze kupumzishwa vyema. Lakini kuendelea mbele ili swala hili lote nzima liweze kutatuliwa, ni nini ungeona ikifanyika?
Mimi ningeomba serikali, narudia tena, wawache kuchimba hapa. Kwa sababu hapa mahali imeua watoto wangu ilishachimbwa. Kuna mama hapa, hii nyumba iko hapa. Hata amekataa kukuja hapa. Alishachimba hii yote ni yeye amechimba. Akakazunguka mpaka huko. Akarudi tena akachimba hapo tena. So akishachimba hivyo maisha nafasi yake imeisha, tena amerudi amechimba tena kwenda chini. So hiyo ndo zinaua watoto. So mimi nilikuwa naomba serikali wazuie hii mambo ya kuchimba hapa tafadhali.
Asante. Na pole kwa yale ambayo yamekukuta. Pole sana Felix. Jackie, just with that, you basically can picture the whole scenario here, losing 4 children at a go. Felix is just left now with a 2.5 years old child. They were 5, 4 are gone. The ones that are gone is at the age between 8 and 15 years. And just picture that, how devastating the scenario is. We've spoken with the locals. We'll compile this story in the deeper end, and we'll be able to inform our viewers later on how we will have established from the authorities and also the local administration on what they have to say about this whole issue. But then again, something that is so clear, and you've heard Felix mention it, is that they will not allow any excavation work to continue here until they are pleased for the backfilling exercise to be conducted on this site, so that incidents like this do not repeat. Jackie, I know we are pressed on time, and allow me to hand it back to you in studio to continue the bulletin.
Well, thank you, Wickley, for that update. A tragic loss for that family and the wider Kisumu community. We now turn to other news. The Kenya National Security Workers Union has urged the government to establish a clear framework that ensures security workers are well armed while carrying out their duties. The union says absence of a clear policy on arming security personnel has exposed them to serious danger, citing armed criminals are now using modern weapons when committing crimes. Speaking during the union's national delegate elections held in Likuyani, Kakamega County, the Secretary General Isaac Ndabo cautioned against interference in the union's affairs aimed at weakening the role of the union. Meanwhile, the union called on the government to reinforce the minimum wage directive and take firm action against employers who fail to comply.
They are supposed to be given tools of trade. Huwezi kuwa unangoja Equity Bank na rungu. That is an abuse to us. Huwezi kuwa unangoja university ya watu maelfu na nini na rungu. Sasa huwezi wanaenda kuiba kompyuta na huku Western wanaenda kuiba unga ya ugali kwa shule wanaua askari. Is that irrelevant? Tukiwapata wanafanya mchezo kwa sekta yetu ama kwa kampuni ambayo kuna CBA, tumesema tutaenda kotini, tutatini nao wapi on the ground, because they are confusing us, particularly with some members we begin rackles. I need those communication.
A multi-agency security operation in Isiolo County has led to the recovery of illegal firearms, drugs and stolen livestock. At least 7 suspects were apprehended and are set to be presented in court this week. Some of the firearms found are not available locally, suggesting that international arms dealers might have been involved now. This latest development marks a significant step in the efforts to combat criminal activities in the region.
We've since recovered an additional 7 firearms of various makes, and equally we've recovered some 105 rounds of ammunition. Matters livestock, we have recovered an additional 107 shots, a mixture of sheep and goats.
Ukiangalia kwa hizi risasi, tuko na risasi ambaye asitoke kwa inji yetu, inatengenezewa inji sa inje, na ukiona simechanganyika, kuonyesha ya kwamba kuna machangili wanaagiza risasi kutoka inje. Wewe ukiwa msasi, tunasema kila mtu awache kununua bunduki, apatie mtoto yake aende malisho, kwa sababu ukiangalia hizi bunduki imeumiza watu wengi sana.
14 counties risk not recovering funds for the current financial year after their respective governors gave prominence to a retreat at the coast over accounting for how they used public funds for the financial year 2024-2025. The 14 include Lamu, Laikipia, Tharaka Nithi, Murang'a, Embu, Baringo, Nandi, Siaya, Tana River, Nyandarua, Mombasa, Makueni, Elgeyo Marakwet and Kajiado. The governor boycotted the Senate County Public Investment Committee over audit queries.
Over the weekend, we have received an overwhelming number of requests from governors seeking postponement of these meetings. So we are not able to do our meetings this morning. Our meeting for Lamu, which was to start at 9, is not going to happen. Our meeting with Laikipia is not happening. Our meeting with Tharaka Nithi, which is supposed to have started now, it is not going to happen. Murang'a at 2, it's not going to happen. Embu at 2 is not going to happen. And the reason is that the governors are saying they are not able to come because they are doing a council of governor meeting in Kilifi. I asked the clerk to reject those requests, and the clerk wrote back to them saying that we are bound by the timelines.
They have gone to retreat to sleep and eat the money. They have gone to play along the auction. Yet most of our citizens continue to languish in poverty.
World Radio Week has kicked off with presenters from various KBC-affiliated radio stations gathering at the Broadcasting House grounds to mark World Radio Day. Now, this year's celebration is themed Radio and Artificial Intelligence, highlighting the evolving role of technology in broadcasting. KBC will host a week-long series of activities aimed at showcasing the enduring importance of radio in educating, entertaining and informing society. Our reporter John Kahiro has the details.
Thank you so much, Jackie Wambiru. We are coming to you live, loud and clear, just a few meters from our studios. That is in our Broadcasting House grounds. Right here, presenters from the KBC affiliated radio stations have gathered here to just celebrate and mark the World Radio Day. This is a celebration of a medium that continues to impact, educate, entertain and inform the society for many days since, time immemorial. And this particular annual observance is themed AI and radio, or rather radio and artificial intelligence, just trying to see how the radio can actually anchor itself in the evolving digital world to just ensure that it continues to play the critical role it continues to play in our society. And as you can see right behind me, a beehive of activities as presenters continue to engage with all partners who have gathered here to just ensure they also continue to educate the mass about the importance of this particular medium of communication. And to just, try to speak to some of the presenters who've gathered here to just ensure they tell us what is happening here. I want to join with my colleague here and a friend of mine, Mombi, who will be telling us what is happening here and really what we expect on this particular World Radio Day. Pengine unaweza tu jongea hapa, then you speak to us.
Thank you. My name is Jane Mombi. I am the Assistant Manager, Radio Services, Radio Programs. We are here today as a beginning of a whole week celebration. We are celebrating radio because let me tell you, when everything is done and everything is finished, radio shall remain. It is radio that will tutabaki nayo mwisho wa kila kitu. Even in all this digital era and everything, it's still going to be radio. That is why we are celebrating the whole of this week. The World Radio Day is on Friday, the 13th of February. It's celebrated all over the whole world. But we have decided to celebrate the whole week. So we are displaying the old radio, the history of radio from 1927, the old equipment that we used to use, the mixers, the microphones, the turntables, everything that we have used in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s to date. And we are also celebrating with the students, the college students, the high school students, the primary school students, because once we are gone, they shall be there. And once they're on radio and they're even in this digital era, they will want to know where did it all start. That is why we are here today.
Right. And of course, this particular year's celebration is themed radio and AI. How are you prepared as KBC affiliated radio stations in ensuring that KBC continues to also tap into the digital world?
Slowly we are coming into AI. We are doing some of the things in AI. With AI, I have seen some presenters. They have started to do their digital posters using AI. We have even seen some of them doing videos by use of AI. So slowly the AI technology is creeping into radio because radio now has to be incorporated. It cannot stand as radio, the sound the way it used to be. It has to be incorporated with many other any other forms of broadcast, and AI is one of them. The small videos that we are doing every day to post on our IX statuses, on our TikTok, on our YouTube, all that. So we are we are incorporating AI into broadcast, but slowly. I think we need to do it a little bit more, especially the younger presenters. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Jackie. You've heard it from Mombi, who is the head of radio for the vernacular radio stations, and of course, we'll as you have heard it, right? KBC has actually organized a week-long activities, which will be in a bid to ensure that Kenyans continue to tap into this particular medium of communication for the entire week, which will culminate to the celebration of the World Radio Day on Friday. From the KBC grounds, my name is John Kahiro. I'll be returning back to you in studio. Thank you.
Well, thank you, John, for that report. A World Radio Week. Celebrations continue throughout the week, highlighting the vital role radio plays in shaping conversations and connecting communities. Now I move on to politics, where Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi wants the Orange Democratic Movement Party to expel its Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, accusing him of defying the directives of party leader Oburu Oginga, thus threatening the party's unity. While at a fundraising event in Suba South, Mbadi said Sifuna's departure from the party would reinforce its cohesiveness.
Addressing attendees at a fundraising event at Kisaku Primary School in Suba South, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, who previously served as ODM's chairperson, said that Sifuna's continued presence in ODM party's leadership is untenable.
Allow him to go. When I was chairman of the party, and Ababu Namwamba wanted to behave like he's behaving, I made sure he left. I convened the disciplinary committee against him as the SG. And by the way, let nobody cheat you. At the SG is keeping documents of the party. That one we changed a long time ago.
While reaffirming his commitment to active political engagement, Mbadi urged ODM supporters to rally behind Oburu Oginga, saying that those opposing the party's strategic direction should exit to preserve internal harmony.
ODM will remain solid the way Raila left it. So long as some of us are still there, there are people who think now people like Mbadi cannot play politics. We will. And we will make sure that ODM is strong on the ground.
Meanwhile, Wiper Patriotic Front party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has urged Kenyans living abroad to register as voters to help shape Kenya's future through active participation in elections. During his visit in USA, Kalonzo also reaffirmed opposition unity ahead of the 2027 general election. Mchuma Udim, the Lunchtime News.
A section of traders at Kakamega Main Market are counting losses after a fire broke out over the weekend, destroying property of unknown value. The fire is reported to have started at a nearby workshop where a technician was repairing a power saw before quickly spreading to adjacent shops. Now, one vehicle was destroyed in the inferno. Firefighters from West Kenya Sugar Company were called in to help contain the blaze after the Kakamega County Government Fire Engine delayed in responding. Residents accused the County Disaster Management Department of negligence, leading to extensive losses.
Wale wafanyikazi wenye wana deal kwa mambo ya fire, sababu saa hii tumepiga simu haingii, moto inachomeka, vijana wamejaribu kuzima moto, imeshindikana.
So tumekuwa pale, vitu vinaendelea kuungua, na kuna county government ni town, katikati ya town.
Katika bajeti yetu, ile pesa ya kusimamia kila kitengo cha kufanya kazi ikiwamo msimamoto, ndio baadhi ya pesa ambazo sisi upitisha. Ningelipenda ile committee ambayo inasimamia, ambayo ministry ya urban area and planning, isamon wale wafanyikazi ambao wanafanya kazi, waitwe wakuje waeleze ni kwa nini magari za kudili na mambo ya kuzima moto ziko kwa garage kwa huu muda wote na hakuna hata moja inatembea.
Lakini hao watu tumepata ya kwamba wako na ulegevu sana kazini, kwa sababu hawasemi kama magari zao ziko na shida. Sasa zile shida imepatikana ndio wanasema ya kwamba magari zao zimeharibika.
Well, we take a short break now. We will return shortly with more news. Stay with us.
So the polo event that we got to attend at the Nairobi Polo Club.
From stylish outfits to thrilling polo action, it was a day to remember.
You know, there were different stalls that were showcasing different things that are connected with fashion.
Beautifully brought cultures together. It got to showcase unique and authentic designs crafted from diverse African fabrics.
Call entertainment scene speedily twirls into a lucrative business venture among the young and agile Abantines.
The group is made up of Israel Onyach and Yoya Tajiri, two artists who have grown into one of Kenya's most promising contemporary music acts.
Halo, habari ndugu. Unaongea na Joffrey hapa.
Habari Joffrey.
Mimi nakupigia kuhusu ile request yako ya kupata connection ya stima. Sisi tunaweza kufanyia deal, ulipe pesa kidogo tu.
When the deal is too good, think twice.
Lakini kitu moja inanishangaza na wewe. Hii ni kuhatarisha maisha yenu nyi wenyewe na pia ya wale mnaenda kutokea kwa manyumba zao.
We are diving into the mind. Stay vigilant to get safely and legally connected to the power grid.
Koti hii imewapata na hatia na mkiwa mkuridhika na uamuzi wa koti mko na siku 14 za kurudisha apili.
Shortcut ni ya wakora. Malipo yote ya Kenya Power hupitia channels rasmi peke yake.
We mzee, hizo ni gani unajaribu kutufanyia?
Tumekuja kuwashika, buda boss utamulikwa, tumekuja kuwashika.
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. Now, Limuru police have arrested a bar owner and shut down a bar in Tigoni found to be operating illegally in a residential area. Limuru Sub-County Deputy Commissioner Harrison Matebwe says the establishment was found to be operating without a valid county license and was also found selling illegal and expired alcohol, posing a risk to public safety. The crackdown follows complaints from residents over the safety of school-going children and the well-being of the community. Residents have now called on NECADA to enhance awareness on the dangers of illicit alcohol, pledging to continue cracking the whip on establishments operating illegally in the sub-county.
We have come in to ensure that the Alcoholic Drinks Act na sheria za county na za public health zinafuatwa, na hata wenye wanahudumu kwa ndani pia hawana barua ama idhini kutoka kwa Department of Public Health. Tumepata pia iko pombe ambayo ilikuwa kwa store na ilikuwa ime-expire in 2024. So we are following up that issue.
In other news, the Kenya Accreditation Service has concluded its nationwide public participation exercise aimed at implementing trade reforms in regional and international markets. Kenya's Chief Executive Officer Dr. Walter Ongeti noted the importance of accreditation in building conference conformity and also that the reforms would promote strong accreditation systems, enhancing quality assurance and enable Kenyan goods and services to be accepted globally.
Third-party assurance that these entities that are undertaking testing, certification and inspection do this because they have the full competence to undertake the work, and that these activities then meet international
agencies that are here to ensure that whatever they export, they are aware of our mandate that we must meet
the required standards.
It is our belief that at the end of the day, all the information that we are going to get will assist us at least to chart the best way forward.
Religious leaders across the country are being challenged to return to the classroom as part of a new push to strengthen moral leadership and confront rising social and governance challenges. The clergy are now being urged to pursue formal education and structured leadership training to better guide their congregations, speaking out against corruption and influence national values at a time when leadership and voice of the church is increasingly needed in the society. The call was made during a graduation ceremony for faith leaders trained under the Reforms Leadership Program, where speakers emphasized that spiritual authority alone is no longer enough and that modern religious leaders must be backed by academic grounding, accountability, and civic engagement.
Research was conducted which showed that 76% of all the pastors in Kenya are completely untrained. So a resolution was found in Reformer who have 37 competencies that pastors need to be able to demonstrate in order to be declared competent.
Katika Reformer, ile material iko na vitu ambazo serikali inataka zikue katika masomo ya kibibilia na pia katika kufanya kazi kama pastor hapa Kenya. Na tumeona watu wengi wakienda kuangamia kwa sababu ya tabia za wengineo ambao wamekataa masomo na wengine ambao waliitwa na Mungu lakini hawakuona kuna haja ya kusomeshwa.
Tunatoa mwito kwa mchungaji yote ile pale. Hauna haja ya kuwa ya kwamba haujasoma. Uweze kuhubiri injili ambayo ni kamili. Siku ambao tunaishi kuna injili potofu. Na tumeziona, sitaki kutaja watu ambapo wamehubiriwa ni lazima wafunge mpaka kwamba kiasi wamuone Mungu na wakafa.
Still on education matters, despite ongoing reforms in the education sector, stakeholders in Kilifi County are blaming the Ministry of Education for allegedly turning a blind eye to the deplorable state of infrastructure at Galana Teachers Training College. Speaking during a cultural day event at the college, the institution's principal, Janet Modiger, students have a long while been forced to make do with poorly constructed classrooms, while some attend classes under trees. Speaking at the same event, the Principal Secretary for the State Department of Youth Affairs and Creative Economy vowed to ensure the college's learning conditions are enhanced.
Pekee cha serikali kati ya vyuo 37 ambavyo wanafunzi bado wanasoma chini ya mti, principal ameandaa mabenchi. Sijaona nikienda kwa principals wengine. Hapa tunasoma chini ya mkorosho na chini ya mikilifi. Hawa watoto mvua ikinyesha wanapigwa na mvua.
Site handing over imefanywa GIS technical training. Site handing over imefanywa pale Weru Technical Training Institute. Imefanywa pale Kaloleni. Hakuna sababu ni kwa nini pia hiyo affordable housing ya hostel isijengwe hapa, ndo vijana waache kukaa katika hizi mabati ambazo na uhakika kabisa mara nyingine kwa sababu ya humidity na climate ya huku zinakuwa joto sana usiku bana.
And now on to health matters. Kirinyaga County Governor Wambiru has officially laid foundation for the construction of a modern maternity wing at Mutithi Health Centre, a move set to transform maternal and newborn healthcare in Moya Sub-County. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony, Governor Wambiru said the facility will go a long way in saving mothers from the costly hassle of travelling far from home in search of maternal services in the region. Once completed, the 30-bed facility will feature an operating theatre, a newborn unit, antenatal and postnatal wards, a mother and child welfare clinic, as well as a laboratory and pharmacy.
The Safaricom's M-Pesa Foundation who have come to support Kirinyaga County, and we're very grateful. Amongst the projects they have chosen to support in the country is our Mutithi Health Center, and they're building a maternity which is 50-bed capacity.
This facility that we are groundbreaking today is going to be the tune of 62 million shillings, and it's going to be a very comprehensive health facility for women. It's going to support both neonatal, prenatal, births, and we even have put in a center so that we have a theater so that all those things can be taken care of.
We are saying thank you. Na kama itaisha haraka, the better.
The newly installed presiding bishop of the Methodist Church in Kenya has been challenged to lead with humility, listen to all voices and promote unity within the church. Dr. John Maromba, installed as the 8th presiding bishop, was challenged by top officials including the Chief Justice, governors, senators and cabinet secretaries during his installation ceremony at the Kenyatta International Convention Center to empower every member, restore trust and guide the institution as a moral compass and partner in national development.
Bwana Maromba, please remember humility. Listen to all of them, the big and the small, the old and the young, the bright and also the not so bright. Give everyone an opportunity to be heard in your office.
The church and the state work together. Na ndio maana sisi ambao tuko katika serikali, rais wetu William Ruto anatuelezea kila siku lazima tufanye kazi kwa ukaribu na kanisa.
We are also asking our churches, whenever they have differences, to first of all talk to each other as the Bible has always told us. Dr. Maromba, our presiding bishop, you're well equipped to lead us that way of talking to each other.
Leaders and members of the Swahili community have renewed calls for inclusion, fair compensation and equal representation, accusing both county and national governments of continued marginalization. Speaking at a public forum at Serani Grounds in Vita Sub-County, Mombasa County, community leaders cited unresolved land injustices, limited access to employment and exclusion from development benefits despite major infrastructure projects at the coast. They raised concerns over poor infrastructure, lack of title deeds for ancestral land and minimal representation in public institutions. The leaders called for structured dialogue with the government and urgent action on land rights, education, employment and political inclusion.
Na sehemu nyingine katika masala ya muundo mbinu, infrastructure development, utaona bado haswa jijini Mombasa bado tuko nyuma.
Ardhi ishasemwa, lakini ujue mashamba ya wazazi wetu yalichukuliwa, na watu walivyochukuliwa ile ancestral lands wakafanywa squatters.
Leo ndo tumepata uhuru. Tumepata uhuru miaka 60, na wewe tukupenda kama rais wetu Ruto ututimizie haya na viongozi waangalie.
And now we take a look at business news. African governments have been urged to intensify efforts towards the removal of long-standing barriers that limit trade between African countries as the continent looks to strengthen food security and attract private investment into its agri-food sector. Now, industry experts say this will enable African countries trade more efficiently with each other, lower the costs of moving goods across borders and unlock new markets.
Intra-African trade remains relatively low, accounting for less than 20% of the continent's total trade, compared to much higher levels in Europe and Asia. Experts say poor infrastructure, policy inconsistencies, high tariffs and slow border processes continue to discourage businesses from trading across African markets. As a result, governments have been encouraged to take the lead by investing in regional infrastructure, adopting digital trade systems, and using blended finance to de-risk cross-border projects.
So you are submitting the same documents to customs, to immigration, to plant health, to standards authorities, and sometimes to security agencies, and each carries out separate inspections. So for agri-food trade, these delays are particularly disastrous and costly.
Players also noted that reducing trade barriers and strengthening policy coordination will be key to attracting private capital and growing Africa's agri-food value chains.
Kenya supports the acceleration of AFC FTA implementation to unlock agri-food value chains that can operate across borders, connecting producers, processors, logistic providers, and markets.
Nduta Mokami for Lunchtime News.
Old Mutual is deepening automation of its processes, especially distribution, to increase insurance uptake. Speaking during the signing of a deal with Agentify, Old Mutual General Insurance Managing Director Japheth Ogalo said automation of core processes would help accelerate the rollout of insurance products. The insurer hopes simplify distribution and enhance engagement with intermediaries will lower barriers to access and reach underserved segments.
The industry is able to be more efficient and, importantly, operate cost effectively. That in itself will spur growth of insurance, because if we are able to automate all, some of the automatable processes, then the cost of insurance eventually, drops down, and that will encourage uptake of insurance.
For any insurance company, at the end of the day, you want to reduce your expenses of operating in business. You want to reduce the cost of collecting money. You want to reduce the cost of quote to bind. You want to reduce the cost of servicing, because we have a claims module in the system also.
The government is partnering with the International Finance Corporation to streamline challenges related to investor participation in the country's special economic zones. Investment Promotion Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan says the country is continuously improving business conditions through the development partners to ensure Kenya remains attractive to global investors.
It's open for business and safe for business. But when they come, they see we are open, we see we are safe, but they ask us, are you investor ready? Right? So now this program, this cooperation will strengthen our readiness for these investors so that we can have more investment, both domestic and foreign, and to create the jobs that are required for our youth.
We want to ride on the experience of IFC and the support they've given elsewhere in doing so together with our investors. The one thing that we've been lucky so far in doing is to be able to carry our investors together.
It's good to hear that certain laws have been brought into effect, and then there is a thinking about what else needs to be done to make this program a success.
SEZs that has been established during the last few years, the success rate actually is pretty positive. There's significant amount of private sector jobs and investments that has been generated in those zones.
A section of real estate developers are calling for a review of the Energy Act to allow large housing projects to commercialize their excess energy. Tetezi Properties Managing Director John Borrow says selling excess energy will increase profits for developers and incentivize the sector.
2019 allows individuals to generate electricity below 1 megawatt for own use without allowances. However, a section of real estate developers want the Act reviewed to allow large housing developments to commercialize excess power that they generate. The developers argue that most housing projects produce excess green energy that goes to waste, and commercializing the excess energy will increase their earnings and pass the benefits to potential homeowners, as well as stabilize the national power grid.
We do not over-rely on the grid, and one of the things also as developers we have asked to lobby for
the Energy Act to be operationalized in terms of being able to sell power to the national grid. I hope the minister is going to come up with guidelines on that.
To further reduce the cost of housing, developers are calling for public-private partnerships, including tax breaks on building materials.
If the government can have a structured way, we can be able to create avenue where developers are supported by government. They are enabled with cheap funding to be able to do this kind of development, and the cost of housing will actually go down.
Increased regulations in the real estate sector are set to protect potential homeowners from fraudulent business people and also reduce incidences of building collapsing.
We need a regulator, who is not intrusive in the likes of the Capital Markets Authority or thereabouts, so that whatever you have said you're going to deliver, you deliver it, and you deliver it on time.
Benson Druba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Residents of Homa Bay County are set to benefit from a 164 million shilling irrigation project aimed at transforming agriculture and improving livelihoods. The State Department for Irrigation says the project, that comprises 2 dams with a combined capacity of 150 million litres, is expected to be completed by June this year. Irrigation Principal Secretary Fantas Kimoto said that the project will provide water for over 20,000 livestock and support irrigation of more than 100 acres of farmland throughout the year. The scheme is set to support drip irrigation to maximize water usage.
Our project reaches over.
The purpose of the dam is to make sure that we harvest water during the 3 months, which can sustain all the livestock for the remaining 9 months. So from the estimate, you can clearly see that once you do that, the 100 million cubic will be able to sustain at least 20,000 livestock, which will help a lot in improving the livelihood of the community around here. And the other thing also, the dam will also help us irrigate at least 100,000 acres. So also it's going to support other value chains on the food crop area.
The U.S. Justice Department has launched an antitrust probe into Netflix's proposed $82.7 billion acquisition of Warner Bros. Discovery film, television and streaming assets, intensifying scrutiny over the company's market power. The probe aims to assess whether the deal could enable Netflix to further consolidate and potentially abuse its market dominance, thereby suppressing competition. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across the globe.
And Warner Bros. Discovery reached an acquisition agreement in December last year, valued at $27.75 per share, to be shared through a combination of cash and stock. The transaction targets Warner Bros. Discovery television and film production studios, along with its streaming services, while its cable television networks will be spun off as an independent, publicly traded company. Days later, Paramount Skydance launched a hostile takeover bid for Warner Bros. Discovery, proposing a deal worth $108.4 billion. Neither Netflix nor Warner Bros. Discovery has mounted a strong challenge to the ongoing antitrust probe. Meanwhile, the European Commission has proposed a 20th package of sanctions against Russia, targeting key sectors including energy, financial services and trade. The European Commission says the measures are intended to increase pressure on Russia following the second round of trilateral talks on Ukraine held in Abu Dhabi on Wednesday and Thursday between Russia, the United States and Ukraine. The talks failed to produce substantive breakthroughs on core issues, apart from a large-scale prisoner exchange between Russia and Ukraine. The European Union plans to introduce a full maritime services ban on Russian crude oil, a move expected to further reduce Russia's energy revenues. And finally, Germany's industrial production dropped 1.1% year-on-year in 2025 due to factors such as weak production in automotive industry, putting Europe's largest economy on track for a fourth consecutive annual decline in industrial output. The Federal Statistical Office says Germany's industrial output, excluding the construction and energy sectors, fell by 1.3% year-on-year, with notable declines of 1.7% in the automotive industry and 2.6% in mechanical engineering. German industrial output has been constrained by factors including high labor and energy costs and weak external demand.
The national women's pool team finished second at the African Pool and Billiards Championship, securing qualification for the World Black Ball Championship in London in October this year. Pool and Billiard Federation President Ben Dumu hailed the result as a major milestone, saying the team exceeded expectations despite early squad challenges, and highlighted the growing strength of women's pool in Kenya. He urged the government to support school, university and community leagues to develop talent. Team captain Collins Tuwei described it as Kenya's best ever performance, crediting preparation and mental strength. Kenya has also submitted a bid to host the 2028 African Pool Championship, competing with Namibia.
We feel elated, but as we promised you, we had a very, very good team, our ladies team, but we didn't think we were going to get to the final. But they did some magic, and we thank God.
We beat South Africa at their own home, despite us having faced challenges of, traveling late, getting to the venue late, some of us almost missing chances to take part in the singles, I'd say that was the biggest highlight.
Getting this opportunity to go to South Africa, it's a great honor, because it's something we've been looking up to. It's something yenye tumepata for the very first time, and we thank God for that. We thank the government.
Well, the national government has allocated 1 billion shillings to resume construction of the long-stalled Mombasa County Stadium, or rather a 15,000 seat capacity. Football stakeholders in the region have welcomed the move, saying the stadium is critical to nurturing and developing local talent in Mombasa.
Remained incomplete for more than 15 years after works were abandoned due to financial constraints. The national government is now set to officially take over the project following an agreement reached with the county government last week. Mombasa County FKF chairperson Alamin Abdallah added that the stadium will nurture talent upon its completion, and it will revive football activities, creating job opportunities for youth and help curb rising cases of drug abuse in the region.
Katika hizi 15 years, I think tumeona pia the impact ya sports. Kwa hivyo we want to salute the president kuwa amefanya jambo moja kubwa sana. Kutengeza back, at least tuko proud.
The facility is also expected to serve as an alternative venue for matches during the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, co-hosted by Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda, with construction scheduled to resume this week and completion targeted for December. Sean Muya for Lunchtime News.
Well, that report brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for watching. I'm Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Anwangeshi. Enjoy the rest of your day.
sikujua. Mimi nilipenduka na mwana hii kasikia.
Nimekuita hapa kwa sababu ya upendo. Ni wakati wa Valentine.
Shaishi sasa wewe ni shagi. Trishi Waraoni.
I dominate.
Hata kuwa na kesi kwa jana wetu nikimwatia hivyo.
Hii makasiriko yote ni ya nini?
Wanafanya kazi kwa kisiagi, tunaona nywele yanakaa hunga. Na hiyo pa. Funga macho.
Ni nani amekuva?
Babe. The love of my life.
Wajaribu toka uniwache.
Kuna mtu nataka mumu.
Ameona kukamtu ovyo.
Nyagia kuacha kwa sauti.
Umetoa wapi flowers? Boyfriend wangu amenipatia.
Halo, nimekuja na tangazo.
Hapo staki kusikia. Hii nyingine moto.
This is how we do. Yeah, chill, lay back, straight, stand, yeah, we do it like that.
Zaki moto.
Do.
This party is Zaki moto.
Hello, Friday. Baby, you've got a long time. You just made me.
Live fura.
Our bodies have evolved over millions of years. Anatomical changes allow us to adapt to and navigate our world. When it comes to hands, our thumbs evolved to allow us to firmly grasp and manipulate objects with our fingers. Our feet, with 26 bones, joints, muscles, and soft tissue, lets us stand, walk, run, and jump. Our legs, with the largest and strongest bones in the body, stand us upright and allow us to walk. But what happens when either by birth or accident these important limbs are lost? How is modern science responding with the creation of artificial replacements? Part of the answer lies in biomimicry, taking a cue from nature to invent artificial limbs called prosthetics designed to recreate the complex movements of the body. Today's prosthetic devices take advancements even a step further, using microprocessors, computers, powerful motors, and batteries to create bionic devices that are restoring function and independence for many amputees. Science fiction becomes science fact as bionic body parts are taking the place of what nature has given us.
Powering the future. Confronting the world's challenges with cutting-edge solutions, medical breakthroughs, and high-tech discoveries. These are the stories of our planet. This is VOA Tech.
Meet Jason Koger of Owensboro, Kentucky. He's a married 43-year-old father of 3 children. He's come to OSER, a global company that makes a wide variety of prosthetics for people who have lost limbs, to tell us about his accident and recovery that took both his arms. Jason, on March 1st, 2008, something happened that changed your life.
Yeah, I went on a quick 4-wheeler ride around my grandfather's farm, came in contact with a down power line, so took 7,200 volts of electricity, and it resulted in basically amputation of both my arms. You know, people really don't understand what 7,200 volts is, but it was enough that it shut my whole neighborhood down. So really the scariest part about it all was my kidneys were shutting down, which is why they had to amputate.
Like many of us, Jason keeps photos on his cell phone, and he's able to easily scroll and tap through them through the use of one of his prosthetic arms, an EDT known as a hook.
I like showing these because it kind of shows what electricity can do, you know. So basically, so this is my right hand. I was put into an induced coma for 3 days, and then the 3rd day I woke up. My dad basically came in the room and told me that we've always had faith that one way or another we would get through it, but they had to amputate
both arms in order to save my life. And so I had no clue that that was even going to be an option until I woke up. I was asked by the doctor, Dr. Guy was his name, and he asked me, he said, "Won't you give me one goal you got in life, and I'll help you reach it?" And I told him that if I could hold my kids, that's all I really cared about, and I didn't know if I'd ever be able to feed myself or dress myself or do anything else for myself, but I had to be able to hold my kids, and I did that 2 or 3 days after I woke up, and they came into the hospital, and I held them, and I knew everything was going to be okay, and I was told I was going to be in hospital for months, and I was only in hospital for 12 days total. And, I got back home, back to Owensboro, and I tell people that to be a successful amputee, it's 95% mental. And I wanted to be the same person I was before, so I drove my truck the day I got home for the first time, and I continued to do what I love, started hunting and started basically getting back to who I was before.
Jason got to that place with the help of prosthetics, basic at first, but today replaced with high-tech arms and hands that are bionic. Hildur Einensdotter is the Executive Vice President of Research and Development at OSER.
Bionics for us is everything, any type of prosthesis that is controlled with a